Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Stay on Target, Games Radar Plus's weekly look at a galaxy far, far away. Now, the last 7 days have seen more news coming out of the Star Wars universe than pretty much any week since Lucasfilm announced they've been bought by Disney. So we're just going to run through that now and talk about what it means. Next week we'll go into a little bit more depth on The Force Awakens and talking about what we know so far. But with me today are Will Salmon, the editor of Comic Heroes, Jordan Farley of SFX Magazine, I'm Richard Edwards, and I'm also from SFX Magazine. Now, the news actually started back on last Monday when we got the first TV spot. It was from South Korea, and it didn't show us that much that was new, but it did reveal a new picture of the First Order.
Yeah, it did, yeah, an awesome first picture of the First Order. There were kind of a reverse shot. Sort
yeah,
of,
we'd already seen the good guy on the stage.
Yeah, and there, I mean, like a few details to pick out are these new kind of AT-AT looking machines in the back, the top right hand corner, which look quite cool. Look like kind of stunted versions of the AT-ATs with slightly shorter legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks kind of similar to some of the walkers from the last of the prequels, doesn't it?
It does.
It does a bit.
A mixture of the two.
So they're obviously still not going with wheels.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. No, we just want,
Also in the foreground you see that looks like Captain Phasma, and I think on the stage there that might well be Donald Gleason's
General Hux. Seems quite likely. I like how they've kind of colour coordinated their patterns as well, like the black and white, like they're totally on brand.
I mean, like if the white stripes take over the galaxy, this is what it will look like.
Like black or white, that's it, no other colours.
I did love the way that Twitter just kind of ground to the halt for the sake of about a 6-second picture.
That is the power of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Entertainment Weekly came out with loads more Star Wars stuff, and they've spoken with J.J. Abrams and some of the cast, and learned a bit about Kylo Ren, who's the baddie, and it turns out that Ren isn't his actual surname.
It's not. He's part of an order called the Knights of Ren. So it's kind of like a designation name, I guess, which begs the question, what was his original surname, or what is his original surname?
Well, there have been hints, I think, that his parents might be someone we've seen in the original trilogy.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It's intriguing. And of course it kind of continues that idea that he's very much in the vein of Darth Vader taking on a designation rather than an actual name.
But what I thought was quite interesting was J.J. Abrams has said that he's actually a bit of a Darth Vader fanboy. He's not the finished article. The lightsaber is sort of built by himself, and the helmet is purposefully meant to look like Darth Vader, and that's quite interesting that he's really probably a bit sort of learning the way. I think J.J.'s even said that he's kind of like the Luke Skywalker of the dark side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are all those rumours that he's basically collecting Darth Maul memorabilia. He's like the ultimate fanboy, building his own collection of Darth Vader stuff. And there was a hint of that in that first trailer where you see him, or presumably him, holding Darth Vader's kind of mangled helmet.
Well, I mean, I guess that's them just nodding back to the Star Wars in the real world. I mean, just everyone wanting memorabilia. I mean, is that a bit too meta? I don't know.
Maybe.
There's a first proper shot of General Hux, which people saw at Comic-Con. But I mean, that's just, I think, showing some of the iconography they're bringing in for the...
Yeah, it couldn't be more imperial, could it?
It's,
he looks suitably sinister.
Does, and C-3PO, a proper shot of his red arm. Now, any ideas what that might mean?
I guess he lost his arm at some point, and it's been replaced, and they've run out of gold paint. That's all I can think of.
Oh, it's got to mean something more. Oh.
I don't know, maybe there's some kind of tech in there, some kind of gadget in there. I don't really know.
And Ray and Finn here running, which seems to be something they're going to do quite a lot of. But it was quite interesting as well. JJ said that there's a reason we haven't heard what their names are yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, almost certainly they're going to be related to someone important.
One of the surname Yoda or something.
If only.
I do like the way in that last shot as well. The stormtroopers look really close, so they're obviously going to keep their tradition of being unable to shoot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can't. It's only been 30 years. I mean, what would they have learned? Now, a bit of scavenging here. This is what Ray does, and obviously, this is. I would guess this is how she's going to come into contact with BB-8.
Yeah, this is a very cool-looking creature. Obviously, all practical.
Yeah, on Jakku, It's a bit different to the dewbacks on Tatooine. And here, I mean, this is just an awesome shot, isn't it? I mean, we kind of guessed that John Boyega had escaped in a TIE fighter, but this kind of seems to show it.
Yeah.
He can't fly it, though.
No, I'm guessing this is the TIE fighter he escaped from that we see in the trailer, and then he's crash landed on Jakku.
Fly yes, land no. Now, this, I think, was the big thing to come out of D23, which is the big Disney convention that happened at the weekend. See some cast there. We had Harrison Ford, along with Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac. And they revealed this, a con exclusive poster by Drew Struzan. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, obviously Drew Struzan illustrated all the posters for the original films, and this is very much in the tradition of those posters. Yeah, gorgeous. One of the things, I'm probably reading a little bit too much into this, but there's this obvious split between the light side and the dark side in this poster with Finn and Han on the light side and Kylo Ren on the dark side, and Rey kind of straddles the boundary between the two. I wonder if that's some kind of hint that maybe there's a little bit of darkness in her, or maybe she's related to someone from the dark side of the Force.
Also, interesting that John Boyega's character there, Finn, is holding a lightsaber.
He is.
Yeah, a little bit of a spoiler, but yeah, we've seen pictures with it on his belt, so yeah.
Implies that the Force is strong with him.
Indeed.
And,
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing I think is quite interesting about this is that we obviously, Han Solo's not the only of the member of the original cast in there, but he's the only one on this poster. Now, I mean, this is obviously the first poster out, so we can't take too much from it. But this suggests that he's going to be the bigger player of the three.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You don't get Harrison Ford and just give him a cameo. You know, you want him front and centre.
Well, I think they said as much. They said that Han's going to be basically a main character, and Luke and Leia are going to be smaller, kind of more backgroundy characters that kind of come into it in little bits and pieces. But he's going to be there the whole time, pretty much.
Well, he's home, isn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
Now, it hasn't just been about The Force Awakens, because I talked a little bit about the anthology movies, or they might just be called a Star Wars story now.
Yep, new name.
Yeah. Rogue One, first of all. We've seen a picture of the cast. This is the one about stealing the Death Star plans, and this picture is awesome, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of looks quite gritty. It looks like something we've not really seen from Star Wars.
Yeah, it looks like a proper rebel alliance. Like, it looks, they're down and dirty, and they're obviously scrounging and they're kind of scavenging things and putting pieces together. Like, they look like they're on the run. They look like they're kind of
underground cell.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I think World War II vibes as well.
Felicity Jones and the Diego Luna there could actually just have come out of the high street.
Out of Urban Outfitters.
Yeah. We also had a few more cast members heard. We obviously knew about Felicity Jones, and I think Diego Luna, everybody knew that Alan Tudyk is going to be playing a motion capture role.
Fantastic.
Yeah, droid or an alien or some.
Well, he has got
that.
past form, hasn't he? Because he played main robot in iRobot. That was one of the early sort of performance capture.
Yeah, and he did an amazing job. Like, I'm amazed he hasn't done more motion capture, really, because he's almost like Andy Serkis kind of good in that performance. So I'm surprised he hasn't done more.
And Mads Mikkelsen in there as well, from Casino Royale. I mean, he's got to be a villain, hasn't he?
You'd expect.
You'd imagine so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, straight off the back of Hannibal, you'd expect him to play another delicious villain.
Then the second anthology movie is Han Solo. Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilm, has been talking a bit less because everyone's been talking about everything. Great news there. It's not going to be a 10-year-old Han Solo.
No.
It's going to be a late teen, early 20s Han Solo. Does that sound better than, I don't know, a 30-year-old Han Solo? I mean, I guess they'll have to cast completely different to how they have before.
Yeah, I mean, if you do a 30-year-old one, how do you do that and make it fit in visually with the guy that we know from the original trilogy? So I guess that's their only option if they want to delve into his backstory.
Exactly.
And he's not going to go yippee, presumably.
You'd hope not.
And then she's also talked about the other anthology movie, which was meant to be Josh Trank's film before he left Star Wars, the 2018 one, with the Boba Fett one, and that's still on the cards apparently. So for 2020.
2020, yeah, they've put it back, which probably means that Josh Trank leaving the film probably wasn't the only problem with it, because directors can be replaced, but maybe there were other issues with the script or something that meant they've kind of put it back now.
Yeah. Unless they decided that Phil Lord and Kristen Miller were a better fit for the Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
And then, more news! Episode 9, which is due in 2019, has a director, and it's Colin Trevorrow, which is kind of not that surprising, is it? I mean,
it's not. Seems like a safe choice after Jurassic World.
Yeah. The third highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the film gets a little bit of slack, but I thought he did a decent job with it. I mean, it can't be easy directing a film under those kind of circumstances, this big budget studio kind of thing, and he did inject quite a lot of personality into that film. So, and I've heard that he's a big Star Wars fan. I heard an interview with him where he was talking about the fact that he almost worked on episode 7. Like when Brad Bird was up for directing it, Brad Bird said, because he wanted to go and direct Tomorrowland, this guy Colin Trevorrow can be like my stand-in while I'm directing Tomorrowland. And apparently Lucasfilm or Disney were just like, who's Colin Trevorrow? Like they hadn't even heard of him, and look where he is now.
Also, safety not guaranteed. He can do characters, can't he? I mean, that's his debut. I mean, people criticise the characters in Jurassic World, but safety not guaranteed is great, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic.
It is.
Really sweet and funny.
Be interested to see if he has kind of a pass at the script now, or if, because Ryan Johnson at the moment is writing episode 9. I wonder what's going to happen with that now.
I mean, I imagine they'll all sort of get together and...
Yeah, it's a bit of a brains trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing with them being Star Wars films as well, it means they are going to have a slight house style, you know. Ryan Johnson's not going to make the next film in the style of Brick. You know, it's still...
That would be awesome.
It would be good fun, but yeah.
All the Star Wars characters start talking like 30s gangsters.
Yeah. High school noir set in the Star Wars universe.
Or bring in the time travel element of Looper. Awesome. And then finally, now that this is probably something that for our British viewers is going to be less cool, but if you're in America, it's going to be awesome. Star Wars is coming to Disneyland and Disney World, and you'll get to fly the Millennium Falcon.
That is quite exciting.
It's really exciting, isn't it?
Book your tickets to Orlando now.
Are they doing it in Euro Disney?
Well, let's see. I don't know, can the Millennium Falcon make the jump across the Atlantic? Who knows?
You can make it in like half a second, surely.
12 parsecs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's been probably the most amount of news we've had to talk about in 3 years. All very exciting. We'll be back next week to talk about everything you need to know so far about The Force Awakens. We're starting to piece together quite a lot about it now. But in the meantime, may the Force be with you.